In my previous life, I unintentionally picked up a guaranteed admission slot to Tsinghua and Peking University, something a wealthy heiress in Beijing wouldn't even bat an eye at. After graduation, I even married into a prestigious family, transforming from a simple countryside girl into the wife of the wealthiest man in the country. By the age of 28, I had already walked through every pivotal milestone of life. Yet now, as I opened my eyes again, I found myself back at 18. Before me, lines of comments floated in the air, as if suspended in midair. The female lead truly is lucky, stumbling into a life that should have belonged to the supporting character. In her past life, the rich heiress seemed to be under a spell, giving up her guaranteed spot, willingly chasing after a poor boy from a village school, and even handing over the man who had loved her since childhood. She really tossed away a golden card. Just to step aside for the heroine, she lost all her intelligence, totally scripted. Thankfully, she's reborn now. It's time for the supporting character's counterattack. I really want to see, without everything that belonged to the heiress, can Jiang Minnoyet still be the heroine this time? Jiang Minnoyet, that's me. But then, who says I can't be the heroine? Those who only look back after they've lost everything were never winners to begin with. 01. In a daze, I opened my eyes, meeting the wild, elated gaze of my deskmate, Shunzhou Nak. She immediately dashed out the back door of the classroom, ran to the class next door, and shouted the name of Ko Tanloi, the man who was once my husband in my past life. Throwing herself into his arms, she sobbed uncontrollably. Athoy, in this life I won't be foolish again. Ko Tanloi froze for a moment, then smiled with joy and hurried to comfort her. Once again, lines of floating comments appeared before my eyes. That's more like it. A wealthy heiress from Beijing should be paired with a rich young master. And Jiang Minnoyet, a farmer's daughter, what right does she have to be the counterattacking heroine? Jiang Minnoyet is a thief who only picks up what others discard. No one can accept a heroine like that. Thank goodness the heiress came to her senses. This time, she must kick Jiang Minnoyet back to the countryside. I quietly stared at the math workbook on my desk. The complex formulas and problem-solving methods confirmed one thing. I had truly returned to my senior year of high school. There was just 1 month left until the university entrance exams. The chair beside me scraped slightly. Someone sat down. Shunzhou Nak's eyes were still red, but now sparkled like stars. Her lips curved into a confident smile, her face filled with determination to reclaim everything.
Jiang Minnoyet.
I will take back what belongs to me. Just wait and see. I gave her a gentle smile and said nothing, because I too was waiting. With this second chance at life, how would I walk my own path? 02. The bell rang, signaling the start of class. Our homeroom teacher walked in, beaming brightly. Shunzhou Nak's face immediately lit up with excitement. The floating comments whirled past like a gust of wind. Here it is. The direct admission letter for the heiress has arrived. This is the first turning point in the reversal of Jiang Minnoyet's fate. Without stealing the heiress's spot, how could she have entered Tsinghua? Someone who didn't lift a finger and still reaped the rewards, just like a rat crawling through the sewers. And in the end, she even snatched the heiress's fiancé to climb into the elite world. What a shameless act. Then our homeroom teacher smiled as she announced, Shunzhou Nak, congratulations. You've officially received the guaranteed admission to Tsinghua. Amid a thunderous round of applause, she turned to me with a look of regret. Both of you won awards in the academic competition, but there's only one direct admission slot. In the previous life, Shunzhou Nak had outscored me by just 0.5 points. After the rankings, I was eliminated. But what surprised me most was, she declined the offer. Teacher, direct admission is beneath me. Please give the opportunity to someone who truly needs it. With that one statement, the entire class looked at her differently. The teacher even joked, then we'll wait for Shun to score top of the province and bring honor to our school. But in reality, she was soon brainwashed by her delinquent boyfriend and insisted on applying to the same university as him, throwing herself into a love story full of drama. She hated sneaky relationships and wanted to publicly hold hands with her love. Amid waves of praise, Shunzhou Nak was lifted to the heavens. And I, the one who accepted the admission, became a joke in everyone's eyes. Let's be real, she's just a beggar. Only knows how to pick up what others toss aside. Shameless. I didn't mind in the slightest. As a student barely meeting the score threshold for Tsinghua and Peking University, I knew exactly how precious this opportunity was. Shenzhou not could afford to gamble on the exam, but I, a girl from a poor rural village, could not. A stable future was far more valuable than hollow criticisms. But now, having lived again, Shenzhou Nak's voice rang out, resolute. I accept the guaranteed admission to Tsinghua. 03. As whispers of envy surrounded us, she turned and looked at me. Jiangmin Noyet, you must be so disappointed, right? Of course. Jiangmin Noyet must be fuming. That admission is so valuable. Just imagining the heiress dumping that thug and acing the Tsinghua entrance exam with the male lead, it's pure bliss. Shenzhou Nak took a deep breath, her shoulders trembling slightly, as if she had finally accepted the reality of her rebirth. Sorry, this spot was always mine. I smiled softly. Congratulations. 10 years. In my past life, from 18 to 28, I climbed from undergrad to master's to PhD, pouring every ounce of effort into the co-group. And Shenzhou Nak? She wasted her days tangled up with that delinquent boyfriend, arguing, getting abortions, running away from home. I surpassed her not only by a decade of education, but also in judgment and the ability to weather storms with grace. It's just a college entrance exam. Now, I have enough confidence to bet on myself. As long as nothing unexpected happens, there's no way I'll lose. But Tam Chao Nak mistook my silence for helplessness. She shot me a scornful glance and said with disdain, I can't wait until the exam results are out. I wonder what your face will look like then. She was basking in triumph, certain she would witness my bitter defeat. 04. But her joy didn't even last through a single class period before her face turned pale at the sudden appearance of Noi Nin. Noi Nin, the notorious school delinquent, was also Tam Chao Nak's current boyfriend. As the only daughter of the prestigious Tam family, one of Beijing's elite households, it was no secret that Noi Nin had ulterior motives when he approached her. He slammed a foot against my desk and roared with anger. Didn't you say we'd apply to the same school? What the hell is this? Tam Chao Nak snapped back with a glare. Why should I listen to you? With your grades, you'd be lucky to get into a third-rate school. What gives you the right to talk about this? Their shouting quickly drew a crowd of students gathering around the classroom door. Hearing the commotion, Ko Tanloi rushed over from the neighboring class, stepping in front of her protectively. His voice was low and cold. If you're here to cause trouble, take it elsewhere. This isn't the place for your nonsense. Insulted and furious, Noi Nin lost all reason. He jabbed a finger at Tam Chao Nak and shouted crudely, Quit pretending. You told me you'd give yourself to me after graduation. Forgotten already? He let out a contemptuous laugh. First time I've ever seen a so-called heiress throwing herself at someone like that. No shame at all. Tam Chao Nak trembled with fury before suddenly turning on me, pointing her finger in accusation. It was you, wasn't it? You couldn't get the early admission slot. So you brought him here to disgrace me? Jiangmin Noyet, you've gone too far. You're in this together with him, trying to steal everything from me. A wave of angry comments came crashing in. No wonder Noi Nin found out so fast. It's obvious Jiangmin Noyet tipped him off. In her past life, the heiress was too naive to see through the schemes of Noi Nin and Jiangmin Noyet. She's woken up now. Those two won't get away this time. I gave a cold laugh. If you're delusional, you should go see a doctor. I haven't moved from my seat all morning. Are you blind? You caused this yourself and now you want to pin it on me. Our classmates exchanged glances and all nodded in agreement. Tam Chao Nak turned bright red, at a loss for words. Noi Nin was kicked out of the classroom, leaving behind a mess of scattered books and papers. As I bent down to pick them up, my eyes met those of Ko Tanloi. He was crouched down too. 05. The moment our eyes met, memories flooded in. Just yesterday he was still whispering my name in bed, gently soothing me after our moments of intimacy. After 3 years of marriage, we had begun planning for a child. Yet now, with just a single night's sleep, I had returned to when I was 18. The boy in front of me was no longer the man I once knew. The 18-year.
Âu Cố Thanh Thời hát Never Loved Giang Minh Nguyệt.
At that moment he looked at me, a trace of surprise in his gaze. Have we met somewhere before? I froze. All through high school. I had buried myself in studies. Our lives never intersected. Even though I now sat next to Tam Chao Nak this semester, she had been too busy with her romance to ever mention introducing him. So why did he ask that? Before I could answer, Tam Chao Nak hurriedly cut in, her face full of unease. She shoved me aside and stood firmly in front of him. Athoy, you're overthinking it. She's just a country girl. How could she have had any contact with us? Ko Tandoi glanced at me again, doubt flickering in his eyes, before nodding slightly. Sorry. Must have mistaken you for someone else. He handed me a notebook filled with error corrections. Inside was a complex national-level competition problem, which I had fully solved using my own formulas. Ko Tandoi was visibly surprised. You actually solved this? Mind if I take a look at your method? He was the top student in school, but had declined to participate in this year's competition because of Tam Chao Nak. Her body suddenly stiffened. She quickly snatched the notebook from his hands. Athoy, why are you asking her? Her scores are worse than mine. How could she possibly come up with a solution? Even you couldn't solve it, and you think she could? That's absurd. Her voice trembled on the verge of tears. Having returned to the past, what she feared most was repeating her old mistakes, once again pushing away the man who loved her most. Athoy, you don't even care if I was scared. Do you really not need me anymore? The comments overflowed with reassurance. Don't worry, dear heiress.
Cố Thanh Thời may ra yet anyone else.
But he'd never let you go. Even though he married Zhang Minnoyet in the previous life, as soon as something happened to Tam Chao Nak, the male lead dropped everything and rushed to her side. She's the one in his heart. But I believe that after 7 years, he truly fell in love with Zhang Minnoyet. They stayed together from college through their careers at the co-group. Their bond grew over time. There's nothing wrong with that. Zhang Minnoyet wasn't the villain, just someone the second female lead picked the wrong man over. You've clearly been brainwashed by the script. In the end, it was all plot manipulation. The female lead's just a country girl. How could she compare to the heiress? Who knows if she approached the male lead with genuine intentions? I'd heard those words. Not worthy of Ko Tandoi, more times than I could count. In university, we had worked together on numerous research projects. Even our advisor often praised us as equally capable, a perfect match of talent and beauty. Yet no one ever said we were meant to be, or suitable for marriage, because even a simple cufflink that Ko Tandoi casually fastened on his shirt was extravagant, while I still wore faded canvas shoes that had been scrubbed too many times. That kind of class disparity, perhaps it's something a lifetime of effort still couldn't bridge. For an entire month afterward, Tam Chao Nak came to his class every day just to see him. But if I was present, she would always drag him away, never letting me get close. Even so, something about Ko Tandoi's reaction that day continued to unsettle her. Time flew and the college entrance exams drew near. Everyone was busy, frantically flipping through study guides and cramming every last bit of knowledge they could. Only I walked calmly, exam papers in hand, unhurried as I entered the test site. The comments began to sneer. She's probably given up already. Everyone's still cramming, but she's strolling in like it's just another school day debt. She must know there's no point trying. She lost her early admission slot and hasn't been seen studying all month. She might not even make it into a Tier 2 school. How can she possibly compare to the heiress Tam? I paid them no mind, walking on with quiet composure. Suddenly, the comments turned chaotic, lines of panic rising like stormy waves, overflowing with fear.
Thẩm Châu Ngọc was the target away being Ngụy Nhiên.
What's going on? She didn't even need to take the college entrance exam. Why did she show up at the testing site? That wretched Noi Nin, how dare he threaten her with private photos? Bastard! What now? The teachers and guards are busy maintaining order. Who would be paying attention to the old storage room? Has Noi Nin gone completely insane? Lately, the young Miss Tam has been acting really strange. Maybe he's starting to suspect something. Is he actually planning something awful? A heavy weight pressed on my chest. My footsteps came to an abrupt halt. The very next second, I turned and ran straight toward the old equipment storage. Only a few minutes remained before the cutoff to enter the exam room. 15 minutes after the test papers were handed out. But right now, all I could think of was a girl's desperate cries for help. If anything really happened, with the disparity in strength between a man and a woman, Tam Chao Nok wouldn't be able to escape. I clenched my fists tighter and ran even faster. Where is Jongmin Noyet going? It's almost too late to get into the exam. And she's running off somewhere. That's the direction of the storage room. Could it be that she knows about Tam Chao Nok? Don't tell me she's an accomplice. That must be it. She lost her guaranteed admission spot, probably holding a huge grudge. Who knows, maybe she colluded with Noi Nin. I didn't care for their meaningless speculations. I just ran with everything I had. Luckily, I encountered a patrolling security guard along the way. I led him straight to the storage room, just in time to see Noi Nin yanking at Tam Chao Nok's hair, striking her and nearly tearing off her blouse. Tam Chao Nok screamed in terror, crying out frantically for help. The guard shouted furiously, "Hey, what on earth do you think you're doing?" It wasn't until the guard stepped in that I finally exhaled in relief. It took more than 10 minutes to get from the abandoned storage room back to the exam hall. But in the end, I made it before the final cutoff. I had no room left in my mind to worry about the chaotic stream of comments. I gave my all to finish the exam. Throughout the 3 days of testing, I grew increasingly calm and steady. But just as I stepped out of the exam room, several police officers were already waiting for me. "Student Jongmin Noyet, please come with us." My gaze turned somber. Around me, whispers stirred like wind in dry leaves, rumors of my so-called crime spreading rapidly. Did you hear? On the first day of exams, apparently Tam Chao Nok was assaulted by Noi Nin, and Jongmin Noyet was the mastermind behind it all. What does that have to do with Jongmin Noyet? All this over a guaranteed spot at Tsinghua. She's terrifying. If something happened to Tam Chao Nok, wouldn't that spot fall to her? Country girls sure have a different kind of heart. I had transferred to this school in my senior year on a 100,000 yuan scholarship, granted by the school to support top candidates for Tsinghua and Peking University. But that money, my father had taken it all to pay off his gambling debts. Every month, he boarded a train to the city, withdrawing over half of my poverty assistance stipend to send back home. Everyone at school knew I was a country girl with a rough and broken father. No one wanted to come near me. The comments seemed to thirst for my downfall. What, going to jail right after graduation? So much for studying so hard, she probably scored high enough for a top-tier school. What a waste. Don't jump to conclusions. I don't think Jongmin Noyet is that kind of person. Maybe this is all just a misunderstanding. But those few voices of defense were quickly drowned in a sea of malice. I lowered my head, already thinking of ways to prove my innocence. The fact that I could see these comments was already something beyond reason. But what I never expected was that the police didn't take me in for questioning. 08. The day of the score release finally arrived. The school invited the top 30 students back to check their results. Outside the classroom, a crowd of reporters was already waiting, broadcasting live nationwide. Prestigious universities were holding their breath, eager to see who would become this year's provincial valedictorian. Ko Tan-doi, who had always held the top spot in the 12th grade, naturally became the focus of every gaze. He was still ranked first in the last mock exam. No surprise if he's the provincial top scorer too, right? Scholar Ko and Tam Chao Nok are truly a perfect match, brilliant and beautiful families well matched in status. They're Tsinghua's golden couple. I stood quietly in a corner of the room. The principal suddenly spoke up. "Ah, right, student Jongmin Noyet is also in the top 5 of our school cohort. Have you estimated your score yet?" I gave a small nod. "Maybe over 700. The principal's eyes flickered with a hint of doubt, as if not quite convinced. My highest score throughout the entire senior year had only been 685. The live stream comments immediately burst into a frenzy. Ahaha, is she joking? Does she think she's funny? Don't make me laugh my teeth out. Even Miss Tam wouldn't dare to dream of breaking 700. What kind of fantasy is this girl having? The principal began checking the scores from rank 30 upward, and the atmosphere in the classroom suddenly tightened like a stretched string. Photographers clicked away in a frenzy, the sound of shutters never ending. Finally, it was time for the top 5. Before the principal could even enter my exam number, he received a sudden call from the admissions office. He looked flustered, at a loss for words. This moment, there could only be one reason for the call. Top universities were scrambling to secure exceptional students. His face flushed red with excitement. Oh my goodness! If our school produces the provincial valedictorian, I'll treat the entire class to a grand feast. And there'll be more scholarships too. Everyone here will benefit. Everyone who witnesses this will be blessed. The whole class erupted into chaos and cheers. The phone was put on speaker. Principal Zhang, first of all, congratulations to your school for having the provincial valedictorian. From now on, your school gate deserves to be gilded. Second, may I ask if Zhang Minnoyet is present? Please pass the phone to her right away. Any delay and another university might snatch her away, and our president will have my head. Principal Zhang was both stunned and panicked. What? Did you say Zhang Minnoyet? How many points did she get? Top scorer in the natural sciences across the province, 728 points. Broke the highest score record in recent years. Surpassed her classmate Ko Tanloi, who placed second, by a whopping 15 points. Principal Zhang, you truly outdid yourself. As the call ended, the classroom fell utterly silent. No one dared to believe what they had just heard. The principal was like a child receiving the best gift. He jumped with joy, grabbing both me and Ko Tanloi by the arms, his eyes gleaming like they were about to burst into flames. He tilted his head back, laughed heartily and shouted, "Excellent! Excellent! Excellent!" 3 times in a row. The live stream comments exploded. What on earth? Is this fake? How could Zhang Minnoyet score that high? Stop it. I saw her with my own eyes during the exam. She sat and worked quietly the entire time. Is it so hard to accept that a female lead can be this capable? What use is her brilliance if she's going to jail anyway? She nearly caused Tam Chao-nak to be harmed. Acing the exam doesn't change that. Are you delusional? Who said Zhang Minnoyet was the one causing trouble? At that very moment, a sudden stir rose outside the classroom. 2 police officers stepped in. Amid everyone's bewildered gazes, one of the officers walked toward me and solemnly presented a silk banner of commendation. On behalf of Tam Chao-nak, we present this to you in gratitude. Thank you, Zhang Minnoyet, for your courageous act in saving someone in a moment of peril. The moment his words ended, the faces that had just been gossiping turned awkward, flushing with embarrassment. I gently accepted the banner and lowered my head in gratitude. The media burst into a frenzy. Reporters swarmed forward. No one could have predicted that not only would they capture the moment the provincial valedictorian was revealed, but also record the very instant she was honored by the police. This was sure to become headline news. At that moment, my phone buzzed with a string of messages from Tam Chao-nak. You saved me this time, so I'll consider our past grudges settled. But what belongs to me, I will never yield again. From today on, I don't want to see you in front of me ever again. Online discussions began to buzz. As expected of the heiress raised in the strict standards of an aristocratic family. Even after Zhang Minnoyet stole everything from her in a past life, Tam still holds no grudge and even came forward to clarify rumors on her behalf. Honestly, Zhang Minnoyet is incredibly lucky. For ordinary people, this would have been the end. Being named provincial valedictorian is glory enough, but she was even publicly honored by the heiress herself. Are the people above jealous or what? Ridiculous.
Zhang Minnoyet say bedtime Chao Ngok.
If she hadn't stepped in on time, the heiress could have been in serious trouble. And yet some people still think Zhang Minnoyet shouldn't exist? I'm at my limit. Reading stories alongside people with empty brains is torture. Can't stand talented but poor folks, huh? Tam Chao-nak rejected the early admission offer herself. Even if Zhang Minnoyet approached the male lead with motives, so what? He was clearly drawn to her talent. Should he be forced to cling forever to a faded childhood love? I gently curled my lips into a faint smile. At long last, after everything, a few voices of reason had finally emerged. Ko Tandoi was the most outstanding man I had ever met, and also the one with the strongest background. I liked him for that dazzling brilliance, and for the unreachable feeling he gave me. I understood clearly that my origins and connections were not enough to support the ambitions in my heart. So I chose to approach him, not with pure intentions, nor with innocent affection. If a man could help me achieve the things I yearned for, then why not seize that opportunity? To be worthy of standing by his side, after joining the Ko group, I gave everything I had. I conquered one major project after another, silencing all whispers of doubt. I was immersed in my own tangled thoughts and failed to notice how Ko Tandoi's gaze beside me had gradually shifted. Right after graduating high school, I used the memories from my past life to invest in stocks, earning my very first capital. After that, I founded a company in an industry predicted to boom in the next 5 years, and invited a group of young, capable founding shareholders, people I had collaborated with in my past life. They had the talent but lacked the resources. At the start of university, military training was cancelled, giving me extra time to perfect my proposal and bidding documents for a major Ko Group project. It was that very project that helped Ko Group solidify its place as one of Beijing's top corporations. That day, while I was at school polishing the project materials, I unexpectedly heard that Ko Tanloi and Tam Chao Nok were dating. Tam Chao Nok displayed their relationship so publicly that it was impossible to ignore. Her social media had daily updates, and the two of them were practically inseparable. The first time I saw them on campus, they seemed to be in a slight argument. Ko Tanloi looked weary, pressing his fingers to his temples. Chao Nok, the company is busy with a major project right now. Once it's over, I'll make time for you, alright? Unexpectedly, Tam Chao Nok changed her tone, which for him was perhaps a relief. After all, she was the one he had promised since childhood to protect for life. But her change felt somewhat over the top. Though he was uncomfortable, his manners kept him from speaking out. To his surprise, Tam Chao Nok's face immediately darkened. What do you mean? Are you like Noini now too? Once you get what you want, you stop caring. You said you'd take care of me for life. Now you're breaking your promise? Don't you feel guilty toward my parents? Why does this feel so exhausting? You got a second chance at life and you're still stuck in the same patterns. Honestly, Ko Tanloi has been more than patient. Tam Chao Nok controls everything. She only stops questioning his schedule when she's asleep. If my girlfriend were like that, I'd suffocate. Compared to her, Zhongmen Noyet is totally different. She doesn't snoop on his phone, always respects his space. And yet the male lead once doubted that she truly loved him. The moment Tam Chao Nok looked up and saw me, her expression worsened. Her eyes turned red as she shouted, I told you already, don't show up in front of us again. I raised an eyebrow, replying calmly, if your mind isn't well, you should really get it checked. Or did you build this hallway yourself? She gritted her teeth, but Ko Tanloi, whose gaze had been on her, suddenly turned to me. His eyes briefly filled with a quiet daze.
Thẩm Châu Ngọc nearly screamed.
Ko Tanloi, you're under her spell, aren't you? You've been given a second chance at life, and you're still looking at her. I clicked my tongue softly, thinking to myself, I truly don't understand. Tam Chao Nok has everything, her parents' love, wealth and comfort, a decent mind. And even if there were no Ko Tanloi, so what? All that she possesses is already the lifelong dream of countless others. Ko Tanloi watched her walk away, a flicker of guilt in his eyes. I'm sorry. My girlfriend hasn't been in a good mood lately. I apologize on her behalf. Girlfriend. I paused for a moment. In my previous life, I was Ko Tanloi's first love. But the one who truly taught him how to love from beginning to end was always Tam Chao Nok. I knew that even after we were married, he still loved me. But he had never truly let her go. He loved me openly, yet cherished her with a silent care. That's fine. In this new life, we've finally chosen different paths. And me, I no longer need him. 2 months later, the project by Ko Corporation officially entered the bidding phase. With 6 years of experience at Ko Corporation in my past life, and with meticulous preparation, our proposal was almost flawless. unless something unexpected happened. But there was one hurdle: my company was still new. Many aspects had to be outsourced, which caused costs to rise significantly. Would co-corporation choose us purely for the quality of our proposal? That was my biggest concern. I tightened my grip on the report in my hands, but in the next moment, the presentation from TAM Corporation chilled me to the bone. It was identical to the plan my team and I had spent 4 months building. Identical down to the smallest detail. The manager beside me couldn't hold back any longer. He slammed the table and stood up. He laughed bitterly, his voice filled with rage. May I ask, how does your company intend to prove this plan is truly your own work? I stared at the presentation screen. Even the punctuation was unchanged. A cold smile tugged at the corner of my lips. Was it Tam Chow Nak? But in the past life, she only attended a third-tier university, barely focused on her studies, and never had any ties to TAM Corporation or co-corporation. Besides, I had revised that proposal over 50 times, each word, each line soaked with sweat and effort. The only possibility was that someone from within had leaked it. My hands turned icy cold. Losing a project wasn't the worst part, but if we were branded as plagiarists in the industry, how could this company survive? Due to suspected content duplication, the bidding was immediately postponed. As I stepped out of the co-corporation building, the window of a luxury car in front of me slowly rolled down. It was Tam Chow Nak. I stood tall, staring directly at her. It was you. She smiled, unmistakable satisfaction on her face. You can only blame your secretary for not resisting temptation.
Giang Minh Nguyệt.
You could go anywhere in this world. Why does it always have to be co-corporation? Her eyes briefly flickered with guilt, but quickly turned cold again. Don't blame me. I just don't want to repeat the same mistakes. You once took everything that was supposed to be mine. So now, it's only right you give it back, isn't it? First, the online comments were stunned, then gradually divided into sides. She was just too afraid, that's all. It's not like she committed a crime. I kind of feel sorry for her. Born into wealth and privilege, getting whatever she wanted, and now she's become this insecure. It's all Zhang Minnoyet's fault. If not for her, the heiress would have lived happily ever after. Excuse me? Are you people out of your minds? Justifying theft now? If it wasn't Zhang Minnoyet,
It would have been Lưu Minh Nguyệt or Tạ Minh Nguyệt.
What's wrong with working hard? The thief is clear as day. This time I stand with Zhang Minnoyet.
It's tờ của Thanh Thời Anh đi with Thẩm Châu Ngọc.
And yet this still happens. I saw with my own eyes how Zhang Minnoyet worked late every night these past 4 months. Often until 1 or 2 in the morning. Just when I thought it was all over, Ko Tondoi suddenly appeared, just to meet me in private. With just one glance I knew he was no longer the same Ko Tondoi from the past. He had come back too. His eyes were those of the man 10 years in the future. Steady, composed, and full of tenderness. His voice was hoarse. Noyet, Noyet, why didn't you come find me? You've returned to 10 years ago too, haven't you? I know that proposal was yours. Only you could have created it. His eyes brimmed with emotion, as if the memories of our past life still lingered deeply, as vivid as yesterday. If I said I felt nothing for him now that I've come back, that would be a lie. But those feelings weren't strong enough to make me forsake my pride, to lower myself before the 18-year-old Ko Tondoi, and beg him to love me like he did when he was 28. Between me and Tam Chow Nak, she would always be the exception. In my past life I had my moments of resentment, but all he had to say was, "She's the girl next door." And I promised her parents I'd take care of her for life, and that silenced everything I wanted to say. Meant, they can love you, and still be haunted by guilt over someone else.
For Thẩm Châu Ngọc.
He missed our wedding anniversary, but later bought me luxury jewelry as compensation. For her, he left me burning with fever in the hospital alone, then cooked porridge and brought it to me himself. I understood well he never betrayed me. He always kept a respectful distance, never letting Tam Chow Nak cross the line. But in the end she was always the exception. In my past life, I didn't make a fuss because I had already received too much from him. Back then he was the optimal choice in my heart. But in this life, everything is different. Because I no longer need you. This time I had enough strength to claim what I wanted for myself. I wouldn't dare call myself righteous, but neither was he all that pure. I glanced slightly behind him. Tam Chao Nok was running over in a fluster. I almost forgot to congratulate you on getting what you wished for. Wishing the two of you 100 years of happiness.
Cố Thanh thời sợ phây đa kèn.
Clearly, he thought I was being childish, sulking without reason. No yet, don't say things like that. After all, we are husband and wife. If you change your mind and ever need help, Co Group will always welcome you. I watched him gently coax Tam Chao Nok and couldn't help but let out a soft laugh. He already had a girlfriend. 2 days ago, the head of Hoa Group reached out to me directly, offering to buy my proposal at a very high price. Hoa Van Hang, 25 years old, was the youngest heir in the elite circles of Beijing. In my previous life, I had heard countless rumors about him. A fox in a smiling mask. Based on what I know of Tam Group, there's no way they could have come up with that proposal. So Miss Zhang, right now you really don't have any other options but me. Are you sure you don't want to reconsider? 2 days later, I called him back. Mr. Hoa, would you be interested in a partnership? I wouldn't sell the proposal. It was the blood, sweat, and tears of my entire team. But if we could collaborate with Hoa Group, not only could we overcome the weaknesses of a startup, but the project could also thrive with their existing network of resources. I bit my lip and spoke with firm resolve. We're willing to show our utmost sincerity. In 2 years, we'll help your biotech product increase net profits by 20%. Hoa Van Hang's lips curved slightly, a flicker of interest in his eyes. Miss Zhang, just as I thought. You're no ordinary woman. Since that day, my life has been a blur between 3 places: school, my company, and Hoa Group. Thanks to excellent academic performance, I was exempted from some general and non-core subjects. Though truthfully, there was a little greasing of palms involved. I wasn't sure how Hoa Van Hang managed it, but everything was settled smoothly. Currently, my company was working with Co Group under the name of Hoa Group, and I became the person in charge of the key proposal. A startup that shines too brightly isn't necessarily a good thing. But hiding in the shadows came at a price. I was now being oppressed by him, becoming his unpaid, special assistant, and partner. Seeing the smug look on his face, I couldn't help but roll my eyes and sigh.
Zilliman.
You think you scored free labor? Who knew you'd end up as my stepping stone into the business world? I was preparing for a year-end project and needed to find more investors. He raised a brow and gave me a dramatic, gentlemanly bow. The honor is all mine, Miss Hoa. This business gala was hosted by the Ko family, the wealthiest conglomerate in Beijing. As soon as I entered the grand hall, my arm linked with Hoa Van Hang's, I met the astonished gaze of Ko Tan Doi. He grabbed my wrist and pulled me to a corner, his expression stormy. As the lady of the Ko family, you dare to appear publicly with another man at a gala? Don't forget you have a husband. I yanked my hand away, laughing coldly. What did you say? I'm still officially single. And aren't you here with another woman too? I pointed behind him, at Tam Chao Nok. Ko Tan Doi seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. No yet, you misunderstood. You know what Chunak is like. If I didn't bring her, she'd make a scene. After the event, I'll make it up to you. I sighed, my voice now devoid of patience. Ko Tan Doi, how much longer are you going to keep acting? Ko Tan Doi froze, staring at me in disbelief. What do you mean? I smiled faintly, my tone tinged with mockery. Are you planning to have your cake and eat it too? The audacity. Have you even said a single word about breaking up with Tam Chao Nok recently? Seeing his face go pale, I calmly continued. Someone once said, we're forever haunted by what we couldn't have in the past. You wrote that on our wedding invitation. Of course I don't blame you, because from the very beginning, this marriage was never built on pure love. Given a second chance at life, I choose the path I truly want. At that moment, an arm casually draped over my shoulder. Hoa Van Hang leaned in close and whispered lazily into my ear. Well now, running off to talk to your ex in the middle of a party, leaving your boyfriend behind. Not very proper, is it? I kicked him. Move. I straightened the collar he had rumpled. You misunderstood. He's just my current boss. Aside from being old classmates, there's nothing between us.
Cố thành thời sẽ phây đa ken. His usun compound sleeping.
What's your relationship with him? Hoa Group, Co-Group's biggest future competitor.
Pha Tsinghua Vân Hằng.
Who took over his family's empire at just 22 in my past life. If I hadn't been by Ko Tonloi's side, he wouldn't have survived it.
Hỏa Vân Hằng Uyên Cơ.
Our relationship? Naturally. I'm the one pursuing Miss Zhang. He gave my shoulder a playful nudge. No yet, when will you give me a proper chance? I glanced at him, my voice exasperated. You're too old. A few more years and your muscles will go soft. Who'd want that? I've got money and ability. If I want a boyfriend, he'll have to be young and hot to match me.
Hỏa Vân Hằng sẽ mai instanti for.
He scowled in frustration. Zhang Min no yet, are you looking down on me? How can you complain without even giving me a try? As the two of us bickered on our way out, Ko Tonloi's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. 16. Just as I stepped out of the restroom, I ran into Tam Chao Nak. She had clearly just been crying, her eyes red and bloodshot. Zhang Min no yet, she said hoarsely. Let me tell you a secret. The reason you were able to be reborn is because I traded 10 years of my lifespan with the system. I only wanted you to witness with your own eyes how I, having lived again, would take back everything that was rightfully mine piece by piece. I froze for a moment. This, I truly had never known. Her gaze slowly shifted from resentment to sorrow. I wanted to see you fall from heaven into hell, to suffer everything I endured in my past life. But why, even after being reborn, you're still living better than me? Why does Athoy still care about you? Why are you the female lead, while I'm forever just the supporting role? Ever since I was little, my parents treated me like a precious gem, giving me everything I ever wanted. Noi Nin was the first person to stir my heart. I thought I had found true love, but I was the one who pushed Athoy away, not realizing he only cared about the Tam family's wealth. Do you have any idea how devastated I was when I lost my child, only to hear that you and Athoy had gotten married? The previously silent comment section suddenly erupted. Oh my god, so Zhang Min Noyet was reborn too? And it was Tam Chao Nak who brought her back. Unbelievable. Isn't that like handing your enemy a knife yourself? Truly disappointing. Thought Tam Chao Nak was a strong female supporting character who'd rise again. But turns out all she did in her second life was wallow in self-pity. In the end, the female lead is still the female lead. Have to admit, Zhang Min Noyet knew exactly what she wanted from the start. She never lost herself in love. I'm sorry for ever blaming her. I looked at her and spoke calmly. You still don't understand anything about living again. She blinked, confused. What don't I understand? You don't understand how to treasure the present. You're still clinging to the past, forgetting that you're the daughter of the Tam family, a direct admit to Tsinghua, and once the childhood sweetheart of Ko Tonloi. You once had his undivided love, something no one else could replace. And more than that, you don't understand that being the female lead isn't a role assigned by someone else. It's a choice you make yourself. If you keep thinking this way, then no matter how many lives you live, you'll only ever serve as someone else's backdrop. Watching her stand frozen in the corridor, for the first time, I truly felt a flicker of gratitude in my heart. Tam Chao Nak, thank you for giving me the chance to become who I really am. Compared to the title of female lead that others bestowed upon me in my past life, I cherish the person I've built myself into in this one far more. 6 months later, my company gradually found its footing, steadily expanding in size. Ko Tonloi had finally broken up with Tam Chao Nak. He began appearing in front of me more and more often, trying to reclaim his presence, clinging to the remnants of our old relationship. Honestly, he said with a wry smile, half the reason I ever liked you was because you were pretty, had a nice figure for your age, and most importantly because of the resources from the Ko family. I glanced to the side and pointed. Right now, I think Hoa Van Hang isn't bad either. If he works hard enough, he might be able to surpass the Ko family within 2 years. He's a bit older, sure, but he knows how to spoil me. And he doesn't come with messy entanglements from a childhood romance. I shook my head slightly as if disappointed. To be honest, you're still not good enough.
Cố Thanh Thời clenched his feet.
His lips trembling. Not yet, we were married for 3 years. Our child is about to be born. Are you saying this just to hurt me? Hoa Van Hang couldn't take it anymore. He pulled out his phone and called security. Please take note, there's a lunatic here trying to steal someone else's wife. Kindly escort him out immediately. I raised my hand to stop him. No need, thank you. I'm only 19, beautiful, talented, rich, and most importantly, still single. Hoa Van Hang's expression shifted in an instant, his face turning into that of a pitiful puppy as he leaned in close. You promised to give me a chance, didn't you? Don't tell me you were lying to me. I pushed him away, my voice calm. Back off. And don't call me sister. It makes me sound ancient. I said I'd give you a chance, but I never said I'd say yes. I'm 19, remember? This is the age to live to the fullest. These days, handsome men are everywhere, from adorable puppy types to cool, brooding wolves. If you like someone, why not just enjoy the moment? We women by nature are like that. Sometimes we just can't help ourselves. Hoa Van Hang gritted his teeth and called for his assistant. Starting today, schedule weekly skincare treatments for me. And renew my gym membership. For 50 more years. I couldn't help it, I smiled, lips curling softly. A man with looks, chasing after me. A woman with a thriving career. A wallet always full. With people bringing opportunities straight to my door. And best of all, I've gained back 10 years of youth. Being the female lead really is an exhilarating feeling.